All right, on today's episode, we're going to talk about conventions, not just any conventions, but con conventions. So stay tuned as we dive into that realm. Hello, Rex. How are you today?
I'm good, Dave. How you doing?
Pretty good. So we're going to talk about con conventions. Kind of something that's near and dear to mine and your heart because we both have, we've been on the con circuit together. It's been a while since we've done a convention.
Probably what, 2017, 2018, somewhere in there?
I'm pretty sure,
is it longer than that?
It might have been longer than that. I want to say
it's got to be like 2018 because we built the small TARDIS here at the house.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it was just, I think it was after a couple years after Papa passed away. But so with that said, I'm going to DragonCon in September.
Brave soul.
Yeah, obviously. Taking Patricia and Leanne is going as well. We're going to take the camper down, go camp just south of Atlanta and drive up for the convention during the days. And then, of course, we're not going to party all night like everybody else. We will drive back and settle in. Kind of a good way to do it because I think it was like a couple $100 for the
I think
like
it
6
was
nights or something.
I think when we went to DragonCon last, we stayed the one close to the airport.
Yes.
So we always had to drive in. But that was like in 2011 and 2012. I think prices were like $400 for the weekend.
Yeah, and they're even higher now.
Yeah, I can't imagine now. I mean, just the influx of people that are going to that convention now. I think attendance when we displayed the TARDIS the first or second time back when we had it was around 50,000 attendees. I'm sure by now they've doubled or tripled because just how mainstream conventions have become, which isn't inherently bad, but it does change the culture a bit.
I want to say they're up to about 75,000 to 100,000.
Sounds
somewhere in that range is what they're expecting probably for the weekend. They always suggest you get your tickets early.
Do they count like the lifetime pass holders in that number as well, or?
I'm not sure. I'd say they probably do. I'm sure they got a lot of lifetime people, but I think it's like $5,000 for a lifetime pass.
Yeah, it was much cheaper like the earlier on, but they're on like DragonCon, what, like 30 or something? I mean, it's been around for a pretty good while at this point.
Yes, they've been around forever, and it grows bigger. And I mean, there's so much to do there. You can't hope to do everything. Matter of fact,
we tried.
I actually seen that there was a thing they sent us the other day, and it's gotten so mainstream that they know you can't do everything, so they offer you a streaming service for like 99 cents. So
like
that you can
like an out in the app or like at the hotels that they're
like
connected with,
like on an app, so that you can watch one panel while you're attending another.
I mean,
or if
brilliant.
You missed a panel that you wanted to see, you can still watch it.
Yeah, because I remember we had to pick and choose. Like we split up a couple times the second year when like the bigger group went, because first year was just you and I, and we kind of stuck together as much as possible. We only stuck around like the main hall there and saw only who came to that main hall because we weren't sure how the TARDIS would be received and if everybody would be respectful of it, which I mean we did have a few instances where they weren't.
The biggest incident we had was where someone kissed the white panel with literally had to be crimson red lipstick, and it stained the door. That was really, I think that really put like just really basically just pissed you and me off.
Oh yeah, I mean, because it was the setup of it. It's hard to take that kind of stuff off. All that costs money, and then somebody's just like, "Meh, I'll do this." And I get it, photos and all that jazz, but you don't really have to do that. I mean, you don't know where that door's been. Like,
that's true. You don't know where that door's been. But for the most part, I think anytime we've set up at a convention, most fans are pretty respectful.
Yeah,
respectful about.
I can count like maybe 5 times where we've had issues, but that's about it. And like the lipstick was one. A fella that tried to claim that the box was his once. That was interesting. I've had somebody kick it a couple of times, and then had somebody fall into it once. So, and then like the 5th one escapes me.
Yeah, I think my favorite convention that we've done over the years, and I hate to say this because I like the guy who put it on, but at the same time, it was kind of sketchy. And that was MonsterCon over in South Carolina, because that was what you, me, Patricia, Andy.
So we did it 2 different ways. So like me, you, and Cody went the first time.
Yes.
And then the second time, I don't think Cody went with us, but I think Andy did. It was me, you, Trish, and Andy.
Yeah, it was the 4 of us, and
because we went to the beach. We had
it was the first time it was the first time I'd been to the beach. I still remember going out in the water and then just getting basically punched by a wave.
Yeah.
The first time being in the ocean and being someone of Christian faith is just kind of mesmerizing that you're about this small,
Well, yeah.
and there's so many other beautiful things out there. I think that was why I really gravitate toward that. Plus the company was good, is my best friend, my wife, another good friend of ours. So I think the company was good, and that's what makes that memorable. And I think most people don't realize that's what conventions are about.
Yeah.
It's about the camaraderie of being with your friends, nerding out on stuff that you love with that friend, And
I think one of mine that I gravitate toward was Timegate in Atlanta when we did it and went to where Woodbury was filmed, and Andy brought his car that had no AC, and Andy had like a suntan on his left side, and I had it on my right side because we had the windows down, and we picked up like 200 pounds of hydrocal for Mold Naked, and his little car was like, because you'd work third shift and drove all the way there. It was a bit of a mess as far as like some parts of it, but it was fairly memorable.
So it was so much fun.
Oh yeah.
And
like the reception we had there was fantastic. Like everybody was very appreciative. It was one of the most appreciative venues we'd been in, I think, as far as like the fan concern. As far as like people who put conventions on, I still think Conuga, as far as like taking care of us as a group, has been one of the best, if not the best, because they've always been very appreciative, very keen on facilitating anything we needed. They didn't mind like how many passes we needed. If we brought like 2 trailers full of stuff to display, they loved it because it got, more people interested, got people in the door, and helped. I mean, not saying we were a main attraction, but like it did help a bit. We were able to collaborate with like some of the panels, and, like the Conuga stuff was completely different as far as like support. But like the Timegate, like support from the fans was amazing. And like
the one thing I
Alan, who
loved
ran
about,
that too, like he was
yeah.
fantastic with us.
Oh yeah,
Like
Alan was great. And the one thing I liked about Timegate was the fact that we were in the hotel.
oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So literally at the end of the day, we were just going up an elevator versus driving to wherever,
Right.
to the hotel, which, Conuga's never been really bad. We've always
I mean,
had,
early days of Conuga, we were right there on the property when it was at the
yeah,
Choo Choo. Yeah.
yeah, it was right there at the Choo Choo, and now that they've grown, so they moved it down to the convention center, which is understandable. But it's still really not that far away from the Choo Choo, which they still strongly recommend you stay there. They've also partnered with some of those hotels downtown. But overall, I mean, you're right. I think Timegate fan wise was really great, and then people wise, like who run it, were great.
Yeah.
But then Conuga, Todd and his group has always been great.
Yep.
Really miss talking to him. He's a good guy. And they're still going strong. I mean, I think that's been one of the biggest fears is how would COVID affect some of these smaller conventions?
Yeah.
Would they be back? Because, their income's based from year to year. It's like, okay, how much money did we raise this year? And is that going to be enough to get those celebrities to come next year? Because we all know a lot of people go to the conventions for celebrities. So it's like, how do you ensure that we survive COVID? I think Todd has survived it pretty well.
I think so.
DragonCon was definitely going to survive it because they're a big convention, even though I think they didn't put it on that first year. I think they did some stuff digitally to keep their fans engaged.
Right.
So,
and there were some conventions I think that got out a little before that, just due to just time on the organizer's part. Like Alan from Timegate, when they changed it to Hulanta as the name, it just become too time consuming because he was trying to further himself in a different career choice. And like, people don't understand what all goes into those things. People don't understand what goes into setting up for them either, as far as displays.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about,
do you remember our hardest setup we've ever done? Or in my opinion, our hardest setup?
Okay, what do you think our hardest setup was?
GMX.
I would agree.
Carrying it through the kitchen of a hotel to a freight elevator,
kitchen,
sticking post out the top of the elevator.
Yeah,
because they wouldn't fit inside.
I agree. Listen, I agree 100%. That you are right. That by far was probably our hardest setup.
Yeah,
I think our second hardest setup would have to be DragonCon.
Yeah,
because no one knew what everybody was doing. So like when we were trying to get with the Sheraton, like they had no clue. No one had let them know. But it all worked out, and they let us back into that bay to unload. But I mean, that to me was like, oh man, if they don't let us unload it like a unload dock, we're basically screwed. Because
we were dead in the water because
we would have had to
back then because it was flipping heavy. That was before the new roof the first year.
Yeah, and could you imagine carrying it up those steps?
That would have been awful
because it wasn't going up the elevator. There's just no way.
No, that one didn't have a panel to knock out like the other one did.
The elevators were going nonstop because remember the Sheraton was also where they had registration at.
Dude, Marriott was even worse as far as elevators, but I get what you're saying. Like they were up, down all day. The registration was there. They had people staying in that specific hotel. So you had, you might jump in there with a post or something. There'd be 3 people in cosplay that have bat wings on, and you don't want to damage something or disrespect somebody's work they've done. But then you've also got like a time crunch and a job to do. So it's always a worry and a balancing act. But yeah, I'm glad they let us in that dock. And they did the second year.
me
The second
too.
year was like way smoother because we knew where we were going, knew what we were
So,
expecting.
as you know, obviously we got fans that are watching the show, and we may have new people jump in and watch the show. If I'm a fan and I'm new and I'm going to go to a convention, what are some of your top advice, you know, that you
So
would give me as someone new going to a convention? I'll let you go first and then I'll go.
bring only enough cash that you're comfortable with spending separately for the vendor room, because you don't want to like overspend, like not get to eat or something because of that. Like set aside a specific budget. Make sure to, first day just kind of walk around, check everything out, get the layout. Then the second day do some shopping. And if you're around for like the last day, a lot of booths, especially like when we did it, we would try to drop prices if we could, especially if it was something that didn't sell the first day. Just to, so we wouldn't have to take it back. That was like the mindset of a lot of other stuff. So if you're going to do a lot of shopping, Sundays were usually the last day, so that was always a good day. The biggest thing is I wouldn't go in like full tilt, like we started out where you go 3 days. I think going to a convention that's more close to you and not necessarily like a small like greeting room comic convention, but like one of the bigger ones like Conuga or Fanboy, like something like that. If it's close to you, go check it out for a day, get the layout of it, kind of see what it is. And then you'll know like within that first day if you're getting the bug or not. Like I still like going occasionally because we've been to Fanboy since then. But to me, it would be very hard to go like multiple days if I didn't set something up. Like I would have a hard time because we didn't do a ton of cosplay stuff or costuming. I think it was a little different in our situation, but I think do bite size, check it out, see what you're comfortable with, try to get what deals you can, and spend your money wisely while you're there, of course. And then like lastly, just try to really be open to meeting like the new people of your same like fandom, because you can come across like a lot of really good stuff that way. Watching a lot of panels, things like that, like that's like beneficial, hugely beneficial for you.
I think for me, the advice I would give them is one, yes, make sure you have a budget, but if you find something within your budget that you want, get it.
Oh yeah, you may as well.
Or you'll kick yourself.
Been there.
Two, it's better to go as a group.
Yeah.
Than by yourself. Find people that are into the same stuff. Go with them. Enjoy. Split the hotel. It's about making friends. It's about making memories, which is very important. I think some of our best memories have been me and you doing conventions with Patricia and Jill and Andy and Cody. So I mean, go as a group. And then third, take care of your health when you go. Make sure that you pack some vitamin C, some emergency, because I think safety, I think with COVID, we've seen it, firsthand, but someone always gets the con crud. So someone always gets the con crud. But with that said, like, subscribe, hit that bell notification, and we appreciate the fans getting close to 100. As always, thank you, and keep diving into that realm.
See you guys.
See you.